All right, let's just see that I have audio and I have video. Come on, YouTube. Let's see what's going on. Oh yeah, Rusty is here. Real Jack Matt is here. James Bong is here. Get to bed, baby. Okay, wait, we've got some ads, of course. Still not used to the ads. Hey, baby, maybe get to bed. It's almost midnight. All right, come on. I get it. YouTube has ads. YouTube has ads. Okay, 1 of 3. Okay, skip. Skipping. Okay, good. And 1 of 3. Yes! It's the Nazarite bringing you, hopefully, Hebrew lore from days of yore. Will this broadcast be interrupted by incoming missile alerts? Only time will tell, and you'll get to discover that with me. Let's hope for a quiet night here and, well, all over the world. So, how have you been? Where you are? It's a new moon tonight. A good time for new beginnings. 8 people here, 2 likes, and I'm not even a minute and a half on. And I thank you. I deeply appreciate it. Okay. Hey, No Fucking Way is here. All is well as can be. I am here. I have a cup of tea, as is tradition. James Bong says, gutsy going live amidst the missile alarms. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it gets interrupted or not. Think in Time says, greetings from Chicago. Greetings to you in the Windy City. Robert Harrison says, maybe a reaction vid soon. Hopefully. I told you I'll need a few hours that I know I can do it, and it's not happening now. Rusty says, good evening. Hope you are well. And you, Rusty. And you, indeed. And Real Jack Matt says, hope everything is well as can be, all things considered. Hey, Bethy Tugarezi is here. Hi. So, people, it has been a while since, what is it, like a week, or I don't know when, since I did a last broadcast. But I felt like going live, and like I said, it's a new moon. It's Eid al-Fitr to our Muslim brothers and sisters of humanity. So, Eid Sa'id, a happy holiday of Eid al-Fitr. Tonight is the new moon, the first of the month of Nisan, the first month according to the Torah, and the 7th month according to the current Hebrew calendar. All right, so a lot of comments coming in the last few days, the last few weeks, really, of encouragement and good vibes, mostly. Some of them, of course, want me dead, and they want to gloat over my corpse. That's all well and good. We all have our time. I had that caption contest a few days ago, 5 days ago, and I thought that was pretty fun. I had some good ones. I think Baba Ganoush is the winner of that caption contest, and that was fun. Now let's see. There is one thing I wanted to say here from one of the comments. One of the comments that came in 2 days ago or yesterday. Hang on a second. I'll find it. Here it is. From Noah Broad. No, wait, I'm sorry. Yes, Noah Road. He said this. He said, I just want to thank you. As I've grown in spirituality, I've become more aware of how vulnerable the Tanakh can be to both misappropriation and criticism. And it became more and more challenging for me, he says, to be at peace with my faith and spirituality, since at its core is based on the Noahide path. He says, thanks to you, you made me see a different way of looking at it, but not just the Tanakh and Judaism, but a way of looking at life itself. And this new and improved outlook is in a symbiotic union with my faith and spirituality. You really helped me shed this cocoon I was in, he says. I was so vulnerable to critics because I felt a need to be rigid in order to stay faithful to traditions. And finally, he says, I am every bit as faithful, but no longer as vulnerable to attacks from critics or from opposition driven by vindictive motives. You provided a key to unlock old chains and move forward. Your live videos are simply amazing to me, Baruch Hashem. Okay, so, I mean, this thing about having a key to unlock old chains and move forward, this indeed is key. And I wrote to him, I won't read my response. It was a lovely message to receive out of the blue. And it's encouraging, to say the least, that these videos are having, and these dialogues with you good people are having an effect on other people's lives. I don't take it for granted. Incidentally, since when February ended, or just about 10 days ago. The money came in from AdSense. I still need to complete my tax information, so it's not in my account yet, but it came out to about between $700 and $800, which, as I said, I will be consulting with you good people on which charity to give it to, or to disperse it between a few charities, or I don't know how it's going to go down. But thank you again to each and every one of you, and I will be as transparent as I can be about the process of it coming into my account and the charity that I will give it to, all in good time. So he said here, a key to unlock old chains and move forward. Isn't this really what we are all looking for? Especially now, right at the time of Nisan, it's the month of Passover, it's the month of redemption. And this idea of unlocking old chains, being provided with a key, whether it's a key that we find internally, whether it's something that is we are made aware of through external people, external circumstances, whatever the case may be. Isn't this truly what we, and I'm the general broad we want, right? We want to be better. We want to unlock old chains and move forward. Now, this must be done through compassion. It can't be done, at least in most cases, through pressure, through guilt, through negative shame. It could come from a place of love and of compassion. And I don't precisely know which old chains he speaks of, but it really filled me with such gratitude that I would, and in my response to him, I said I would love it if I could break free of old chains as well, if I could indeed receive a key or find the key within me to break out of old chains, of the straits and of the walls and the constraints that keep us limited. Now, we are always going to remain limited, this is a given. But to some things, with courage, with faith, with love, with compassion, we are able to break old chains and move forward. And I want to bless us all of humanity, all of the world, all of creation, that we will be able to be provided with a key to unlock old chains or break them and move forward. All right, let's go to the chat. Sound says, I was reading the story of King David and I saw the new moon. Indeed. Yehudi atheist, hello from Tel Aviv. Shalom, shalom beTel Aviv. Hopefully. Ta'asu li okeh v'harshama lemanui says, Bi Ana Rivka. She wants me to follow her and subscribe. I don't usually do a sub for sub thing, but I just might. I'll check it out. Poponit said hi. Shalom, Poponit. Ma kore? Bean says hello. Bigur Bogolo says, Bigur says, Shalom, shalom to you. Peace to all of us, God willing. So wait, Sound, what were you reading about King David? The story of King David is relatively long, right? The second part of Samuel deals with a lot of it. Cyrus the Great, teach me Hebrew, he says. I am no teacher, but I am a fan of Cyrus the Great, right? He is called a Messiah. He is called Anointed One. Nice glasses. Thanks a bunch, man. I think my wife picked out the frame. I mean, she's done that ever since we were married, really. So I don't know if I could teach you Hebrew, Cyrus, unfortunately. Been missing you, says no fucking way. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I really, truly do. What's up, brother? He says. Well, you know, I'm doing what I can over here. It's not easy, not for us over here in Jerusalem. Definitely not, you know, up north with fire coming in from Lebanon and from Iran. Not, you know, I mean, look, Iran has it worse by far, being bombarded nonstop by the US and by Israel, and it looks like maybe some of the Gulf states, you know, are going to be joining in the fight. Who knows what will happen? I pray for peace. I would rather it come through love and understanding and embracing of one another. But sometimes peace is made, right? Peace is made between enemies, and peace is made through war. Peace is made through aggression, unfortunately. But sometimes through that aggression, we could find our way to a real long-lasting peace. And there's a reason why, right? The Latin phrase says, if you want peace, prepare for war. Because sometimes being the biggest and the baddest and the fiercest is indeed what guarantees peace in the long term. And the balance of powers maintained that way. Unfortunately. James Bong says, Amen, Shalom Olami, world peace and Mashiach now. Yes, we could use We could use an anointed one. We could use an anointed one. I don't know if it would be the final anointed one or an anointed one of many, but we could definitely use a proper anointed leader here in Israel. I don't know what's going on with Netanyahu. Far be it from me. I'm just a little dumbass in the Middle East with a phone, right? And I don't know what's going on. I'm no military analyst, and I'm not aware of the geopolitical nature of things to such a degree that I'd be able to say with some certainty, that, oh, ba 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 bee, ba ba boo, ba ba ba. But, from the way I'm seeing it here, things are so screwed up, things are so messed up. And I was hoping, truly I was hoping, that in the spring, that 12-day war with Iran will be able to sort of seal the deal and will be able to get Iran off of our backs. I truly hope that the Iranian people will be able to rise up eventually. Maybe sooner than later, I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I were them. But I hope that they will be able to rise up, backed by the chutzpah of the US and Israel and other countries who might be joining the fray, and be able to go out into the streets and have this regime change. And into what? I don't know. I don't know what the alternatives are. Is the son of the former Shah going to make an appearance? Will it become a democracy? I have no idea what will happen. But this religious fundamentalist Islamic Republic, it seems, is hell-bent on, well, destroying Israel, destroying the US, gaining nuclear capabilities, not for purposes of peace, I think. Time will tell, right? We'll have to see. What's your favorite cartoon? Garfield. Definitely Garfield. Look, cartoon, I loved Garfield and Friends, the cartoon. I still love Garfield, the comic, the comic strip. Favorite cartoon? More recently, I used to watch Rick and Morty. The first 2 or 3 seasons I watched. After that, I kind of tuned out, and I understand there's going to be a new season coming soon. Maybe I'll get back into it. I don't know. Hey, Seek Truth is here. Shalom. My family's been praying for your family, my friend. I appreciate it. I know it has to be challenging with the baby. Yes, definitely. Definitely challenging, but people have it so much worse everywhere, here and around the world, and it's just the nature of things. It's the nature of things. It's all so seemingly random. Some people are better off and some people are worse off, and I'm very thankful for the things I have and for the situation I'm in, and in some cases I'm less thankful, and some days it feels like the pressure is mounting and I'm losing my mind a little bit. It's a difficult situation no matter what side of that spectrum you're on. It's not good, not for the civilian home front, not for the people in the military that are going through very challenging times, not for the people of Israel, not for the people of Iran, not for the people of the UAE or Saudi Arabia or Kuwait. Ay, ay. Frankie Cutler says, can you speak of the rebuilding of the third temple and if it has begun? Well, it hasn't begun because as far as I know, physically speaking, it has not begun. Spiritually speaking, you can claim it has been in the offing for a very long time and a work in progress. As for the physical building of the third temple, it has not yet begun, but I know that there are people pushing towards that constantly. As for the rebuilding, there's the prophecy in Ezekiel, right? The final prophecy in the book of Ezekiel, which speaks of the different dimensions of the temple of Adonai. And the second temple, right, was not built according to those measurements, that's why people say that the measurements that are provided in the book of Ezekiel are actually for the third temple. But I'm of the opinion, as always I say this, that the temple is a means to an end. It's not an end in and of itself. It is there to facilitate the unity, the union of the divine masculine and feminine presence in the world through ritual worship, through the service of the priests, the Levites, the Israelites. And, and the different sacrifices of vegetation and of water and of oil and of blood and of incense and of all the garments, all the stones, all the metals, all the fabrics. It's all there to facilitate that union. And we can bring it about in different ways. It does not have to be through ritual worship. It does not have to be through animal sacrifice. We are the original temple. We are the original, dwelling place of God, in the sense of the temple is there in lieu of what the human being made in the image of God is. So what I'm saying is that it doesn't have to happen, but if it does happen, may it be a vegan third temple, and may it be built, and may we merit its building, because if it is going to be built, it means that we will have come to the place as a human race, and if not as a human race, then as a children of Israel, that are able to come together and are able to love each other, and the third temple will be a house of love and prayer for all nations and for all humanity. That's what it's supposed to be. But then again, it's not a must. You know, a king is not a must. A messiah is not a must. A temple is not a must. Ritual worship and animal sacrifices are not a must. These are things that have been done, maybe will continue to be done and carried out, but that is also a means to an end, and we will, God willing, be able to transcend all of that. And if it does come to pass, may it come in times of love and peace and understanding. Wow, you are alive, says America First. Yes, I am. Hey, William Barry is here. Hang in there, buddy, says Dave Lynn. Indeed. Indeed, I'd like that. I'd like to be able to hang in and to come out of this for the better, all of us. 100%, says America, it could be a lot worse, like in South Sudan. Yes, for instance, like in South Sudan. But a lot less people care about what's going on in Sudan. A lot less people care about the different conflicts that are going on in different places in the world. They seem to be hyper-focused on Israel, hyper-focused on what's going on here. Is Netanyahu dead? No, from what I know, he's not dead, but I don't know much. Could be that he's dead. I know that there was a rumor and videos, and it's AI, and it's not AI, and I don't know what's going on. What I said to people who've told me this is, it doesn't matter to me whether he's dead or not. What matters is what's going on now, and if it's not him, then a different leader needs to be elected, and that's the way that it goes. Any rockets today? Yes, all over Israel. All over Israel, and did we go into the shelter this morning? I think we were in the shelter this morning. I've been losing count. Skipper James, hang on a second, there's a smudge on my screen. Yes, Jones, Skipper Jones. All right. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, she'akol yeh bidbaro. Hey, Noah Road is here. I just read your lovely comment right when I started streaming. Are you Rastafarian? No, I am not. I do not worship Rastafari as a god incarnate, but I have taken a Nazarite vow, and religious Rastas also take the Nazarite vow. Never under pressure. Never, really, because sometimes pressure will cause you to become a diamond. You know what I'm saying? Noah Rhodes said, I believe that everything is a miracle wearing the robes of a rational explanation. Bless you and Baruch Hashem. And you. Yes, right? You can look at infinity in a grain of sand. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, sure, it's everywhere, but if you look really, truly into it, you'll be able to see miraculous things. And it all, once again, depends on the lens through which you view the world, whether it's the natural world or whether it's divinity itself. It's all about the lens through which you choose to view things. And people can say, no, everything is rational, everything is explainable, everything falls under the rubric of the immutable laws of physics and the laws of nature and all of that. And then there are those who say, no, this is just a physical experience of something that is much, much greater. Hello, stay safe, brother, says Real Jack Matt. Hello. I hope to stay safe. I hope people stay safe. It's good to stay safe. Sarania says, Shalom, appreciate your vision of a possible future of world peace. As far as I'm concerned, maybe foolishly optimistically concerned, it is an inevitability, right? Just like Thanos said, I am inevitable. Well, world peace is inevitable. It's all a question of how we get there. Do we get there through the sword? Do we get there through bloodshed and disagreement? Do we get there through peace and love and understanding and embracing ourselves and our brothers and sisters in humanity? I don't know how it's going to go down. I really don't. Gunner Experience says, I'm your opinion. I'm guessing he wanted to say, in your opinion, how bad has anti-Semitism gotten in the last few years? Well, seeing as how I live in Israel and I'm the majority, I don't know how bad it's gotten, but I hear it's gotten pretty bad. Anti-Semitism is something that always is around in some either low level or mid level, and it seems that right now it's been sort of kicked into higher gear. So how bad has it gotten? I don't know. I don't live in the diaspora. I don't know, but I hear it's pretty bad. Do you think, says No Fucking Way, do you think China and Russia are helping supply all the munitions? I think it makes sense. There's some say an unholy alliance of China and Russia and Iran. Some people, I think, call it the axis of evil. Is that it, or am I thinking of something else? Either way, those three are buddy buddies. Hey, King Kalayugan is here. Good to see you back in action, and good to see your username on my screen. I appreciate you dropping by. Never Under Pressure says, we appreciate your point of view and peace be with you and your family, and you, Never Under Pressure. I appreciate the kind words, the good vibes. Chocomillo says, religion and state should not be mixed. Iran and Israel is prime example of that. I tend to agree. I tend to agree. I only tend to. I don't know how much, percentage-wise. I can't tell you this or that. I can tell you that if there is no spiritual and physical glue holding the people of Israel together in the form of the Torah, the commandments, the shared heritage, the shared history, there's only so much you can place on history. It needs to be current, right? But what I'm saying is that sometimes the glue is not enough to hold us together if what we base our similarities on is all externalities. And so we need that shared heritage. We need that shared narrative with us, right? It's best exemplified with Torah and commandments and that which has created us and made us and shaped us into the people that we were and the people that we are. To wit, right? It's now the first of Nisan, the first of the first month according to the Torah, the seventh month according to the Bible, and the according to the modern, more modern, right, religious calendar. And Egypt, right, and the bondage in Egypt and the exodus from Egypt, regardless of whether or not you think it actually took place physically, it's the story of how we became a people, right, through being in that iron furnace of Egypt. And that idea that religion and state should not be mixed has a lot of merit. And it's not like I want to see Israel a theocracy in the way that it used to be. Not necessarily. I would want, as it says, right, to renew our days as of old, meaning not go back to the old ways, renew them in ways which is a synthesis of both, where you will be able to have, look, right now Israel is a Jewish democratic state, and that is falling apart a little bit, or at the very least, it's, as King Crimson said, is cracking at the seams. Is it indeed viable? Can you have a democracy that is a little bit of a theocracy, or a theocracy that is a little bit of a democracy? Is that possible? Is it possible to have a Jewish democratic state? This is the experiment that the state of Israel is running. Many others as well, of course, but this is the main one, I think. And that's why some people have left Zionism behind. And that's why some people are in this what's called post-Zionist ideology of, we ran the experiment, it didn't happen, we became the bad guys, we became the Nazis, we became the perpetrators, we became the predators, we became the evil ones, and sort of turned the table on ourselves and cut the leg, right, chopped the legs off of our very own vessel. And so now we need to find a new path, a new way. And I don't know how much I don't think that the Zionist experiment has been run so... I don't think it has run its course, for better or worse. So I'm not a post-Zionist by any means, but I do know that there are issues, right? Even right now with Passover and the idea of the leavened bread and laws that are trying to be passed, right? Bills or laws or whatever it is that are trying all the time to be passed in the Knesset, in the Israeli parliament, regarding the sale and the consumption of leavened bread, of chametz, in certain areas. People are trying to make it illegal, and that's the state really getting into your home, into your business, into your pockets, into your very life, in the sense of what you can eat and what you cannot eat for these 7 days out of the year. So the Torah, right, and the theocratic part of Israel would say, yes, obviously, the religion should dictate what the state does. And those who are against that would say, no, hell no, like Chocomillo says, religion and state should not be mixed. I tend to see the merit in both of those, but I think that I believe more in the sovereignty of the individual, and that I tend to think that, I don't know if it should not be mixed, but definitely there are places where it should not be mixed, and there are places where it causes more harm than good. It's more of a, right, it's more of a detriment than a benefit. And yet, if we completely separate, what is it that makes Israel Israel? Is it not our shared heritage? Is it not the Torah? Is it not the commandments? Is it not tradition? Tradition. What is it that makes us Israel truly? Is it simply a geographic location to which we returned, or is it more than that? Right. This is the crux of the argument, or argument of the idea. So, Chocomelo, I see your point. In some ways, I agree with you. It should not be mixed. Iran and Israel are indeed prime examples of why it should not be mixed. On the other hand, I think that there ought to be, there could be a way to make it happen for the better, right? For the betterment of the citizens of Israel. I can't speak for Iran because I'm not Iranian. Okay, let's continue. We're going down, down, down. Frankie says, do you have a bomb shelter in your house? I have one in my building. Can you show it to us? No, I cannot. I mean, it's downstairs. I don't want to do that right now. I'm here nice and cozy for now in in my home with my robe and a cup of tea. But I dare say I will be in that bomb shelter before long. Also, because it's a bomb shelter, there is no internet. I have no internet there. There's no reception there. There's no internet there. There's no Wi-Fi there. No 4G or 5G there. So unfortunately, even if I was in the bomb shelter, I could not show it to you. So yes. Hi, Jesus Christ, says Fred. Hi, Fred. I'm not Jesus Christ, but traditionally he was a Hebrew man, and so am I. So we have that in common, which is nice. James Bong says, well, if there wasn't a secular state of Israel and only Orthodox, every Friday would be October 7th. Why do you think that every Friday would be October 7th, James Bong? JM, LM, LM, why not stay in diaspora? I mean, if you're in the diaspora, you definitely could stay there. Definitely you could. I grew up in Israel. It's my home. It's where I'm from. As for people who are in the diaspora who want to stay there, by all means, they can stay there. I know a lot of people, not personally, right, who are making the pilgrimage, the ascension to the land of Israel, to the state of Israel, because they feel that they can no longer be properly Jewish, externally Jewish, and have any Jewish characteristics or right, any kind of exhibition of their Judaism in public. And that they don't feel safe in their homes, and they don't feel safe in their synagogues, and they don't feel safe in their schools, and they don't feel safe walking around with a necklace or a chain of a Star of David, for instance. Now, there are many people who say that religion ought to be private to begin with, and it could be private, and people need to understand that it's not something you should be flaunting to begin with. So, okay, that aside, Jews and others are staying in the diaspora, and some of them are coming to Israel. Right? Jews are flocking to Israel because they no longer see any way in which they can be Jewish wherever they are. How are you holding up, says Dylan. I'm holding up relatively well, thank God. I can do this, right? If I can sit here at midnight, right? It's 12:15 a.m. Thursday, 12:15 a.m., the 1st of Nisan. It's a new moon, and I'm here with you in my robe. The house is quiet. Everybody, for now, is healthy and happy and sound asleep in their beds. So it's all good for now. This has been especially tough for the younger children, the baby and the toddler, who their sleep is all out of whack. But I can't even imagine what the Iranians are going through, because some of them don't even have bomb shelters, and some of them don't get a warning, and some of them are, things there are falling apart rapidly. The state of Israel and the U.S. are hammering the Ayatollah regime, and that comes at the expense of the civilians, and it comes at the expense of the everyday people who need to cower, and the prices are going up, and inflation is running rampant, and people don't know what's going on. I just hope that for the people of Iran, this will be over soon, and they will overthrow that government, that leadership, that regime, and bring about real change to Iran. Good change, a change for the better. I really, really hope so. Anti-Semitism is so hot right now, says Skipper Jones. Yes, indeed. I should watch Zoolander again. That Hansel is so hot right now. Hello, friend, says Pet Long. Hello, Pet. How you doing? Chocomillo says the country needs to serve the people, not the religion. God does not need state to operate. Well, that is true. That's what I said. The sovereignty of the individual. That's what I tend to go with. State and religion should not mix. If the state can't exist without religion, then it is not a good state. I tend to agree with that statement. I'm talking about the people, not the state. The people, right, are the glue that keeps us together. Is not a geographical location, right? It's our shared heritage, history, tradition. And so once we lose that, then we are in trouble. But I tend to agree. That's right. God doesn't need state to operate, as you said. Seemingly not, because the divine revelation was here doing its thing way before states were a thing. And if a state can't exist without religion, then it is not a good state. I tend to agree with that as well. Now, maybe it's only because I haven't thought it all the way through. Maybe I could be proven wrong. Maybe I'm just a simpleton, likely. But I tend to agree with that statement. James Bong says, I doubt it has ever changed. I'm not sure what you mean. Hey, Rainy Boy is here. Hey, Rainy Boy, can I ask an ignorant question? Always. Ask an ignorant man an ignorant question, you might get an ignorant answer. His question is, why do Jews do the spirally hair thing? What's the meaning? So I, by the way, did have side curls, and I simply let the hair grow out around them, but I never cut them off, so technically I'm still sporting them. I grew them from a tiny little thing here, and they were about till here, or more, yeah, something like that. So the spirally hair thing known as peot, or side curls, or payas, is an embellishment on the mitzvah of not cutting or shaving with a razor the corners of the head. There are different corners, right, of the head and of the beard. And corners are not necessarily 90-degree corners. What I mean is places. Certain places you ought not shave with a razor. You're not allowed to. You can do it with a trimmer, but not with a razor, not with a knife, not with something that actually rips it from the root and sort of demolishes the hair. Hairs are part of what represent divine revelation, a certain type of divine revelation in the human being, like the hair of the beard, the hair of the mustache, the hair of the head, all have their own unique meaning. So the spirally hair thing, now it's not always spiral. Some people just let them grow wild. Some people put them in side curls. Some people put them in reverse side curls, forward, back. But it's basically a Hasidic embellishment on the commandment of not shaving it. So rather than not shaving it, which is shaving it is on one end of the spectrum, and letting it grow long is on the opposite end of that spectrum. The meaning of it is that the hair for the non-Nazarites, right? Nazarites, their hair has a different meaning. That's why it's meant to grow wild. But for regular folk, men and women, men rather, not women, they have a different thing with hair as well. Hebrew men who are not Nazarites, the hair of their head, well, actually that's also true to women, but they do things a bit differently. The hair of the head represents judgment, represents what's called din, which is the left side, the left hand, the hand that is closed, or the hand that rejects, or the hand that, right? Unlike the right hand, which is open, the chamsa, if you've seen it, right? The hand that's always giving. It's a hand of constraint and of limitation, of judgment, also known as wrath, also known as anger, also known as judgment, right? Or vengeance. So the meaning for the male Hebrew man who grows them out is that, right, I said that the beard, for instance, has a certain meaning, and the hair of the head has a certain meaning. Growing out the side curls and having them connect, if you will, not actually connect, but having them grow alongside the beard is kind of something like the right hand and the left hand coming together to form a middle pillar, right, of harmony and of unity. And so we have on either side, we have the hair that represents judgment, and over here we have the hair that represents giving. And when you have them together and you grow out the side curls alongside the beard, then you are able to reach a harmonious place where the two come together, a synthesis of left and right to a center, balance, harmony. That's what it represents. Alone, it's simply what's called din kodesh, holy judgment, meaning there is part of the world, right? We don't want the entire world to go to the left. We don't want the entire world to go to the right. Either of those extremes at the extreme is not a proper way to be, not individually, not globally. However, if you do let a bit of the right side in, and you do let a bit of the left side in, and you're able to have that push and pull, that yin and yang, that positive and negative, right? That balance, that homeostasis of creation, that's what the side curls represent. The necessary judgment, the necessary wrath, the necessary left side, right? But it still is of holiness, unlike the left side of let's say, unholiness, known as the other side, the Sitra Achra. So that was a short rant on the Peot. Sending peace and love, says Pet Long. Thank you, I appreciate it, I really do. And 7th of October was on Shabbat. Yes, it was. I didn't, because I don't turn on my phone or TV on Shabbat, I was not aware until after the stars came out and I turned on my phone of what had gone on October 7th. It was horrible to find that out. Have there been any explosions near you? Well, I've heard some pretty serious booms and bangs of rockets being intercepted, or missiles rather, being intercepted by our anti-missile missiles. But, well, near me, yes, there have been fragments of interceptions that fell close by. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say. It's not fun. Not fun. Okay, let's continue. When will you change your regime? When? At the next election. That's when we will change it. Sandro Social. Hi, Sandro. So yes, we will change the regime, God willing, at the next election. I have not voted in about 20 years, and I'm going to vote in the next election, even though I don't have that much faith in the political system. But just for the chance to get rid of Netanyahu, I will be voting in the next election. I don't even know who I'll be voting for. I'll have to see when they announce an election of the different people, the different candidates and their platforms and their party and all that. The political game is too divisive for me, it's too dirty for me, and that's why I've been staying away from it. But it's come to a point where even I am going to actually exercise my democratic civic duty and vote in the upcoming elections whenever they will take place, because Netanyahu needs to go. He's done. He did his thing. He needs to go and vacate his throne and have someone else step in, hopefully somebody better. And not to say that Netanyahu was good or bad, but simply I hope the next leader of Israel will be better than the previous leader. That's just common sense. Let's hope that we keep progressing. Let's hope that we become better. Let's hope that the people leading this country are better than the ones before. And that's what I hope. It's truly what I hope. So the regime change will happen in the next election, I hope. Religion, says Nero, is the threat of all evil. I'd like to think that religion is not the threat of all evil, but definitely extreme religion, definitely blind religion is one thread of all evil. Let's put it that way. And right, what did Hitchens? Was it Hitchens, right? To have bad people, to have good people do evil things, it takes religion. He wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. Oh, I love this tea. Turkish apple, I think it's called. Right? Is that what it is? No, I don't have the name. I think I took Turkish apple, and it's lovely. Real Jack Matt says, I disagree with you. All Jews should be following the Torah. That's what Hashem wants. Well, let's put it this way. Following the Torah, yes, but even right now, right, we have less than half of the 613 commandments. So I do agree we need to follow the Torah, but I don't agree necessarily that a democratic state is the way to facilitate that, or at least not the best way to facilitate that. Because if you're going according to the Torah, then you would say that the Torah made it permissible to have a king, to anoint a king, and so we should be doing that. We should have a monarchy, right, and not a system of parliament. We should have a monarchy and not a government, right? So it's not that I don't think that Jews should be following Torah. You know, I try to follow some of the Torah myself. You know, I pick and choose everything, and I make no apology. I'm a picker and chooser. But definitely Jews should be following Torah. You know, to each his own. We each have different commandments and sections and verses and places that we feel drawn to. And you can't have one person of Israel carrying out and fulfilling all and performing all of the 613 commandments, let alone without a temple. Because most of the commandments in the Torah pertain directly and indirectly to the ritual worship at the temple. James Bong says, since Ptolemy the First, a Macedonian general and the founder of the Ptolemaic kingdom in Egypt, they have been plotting against Israel on Shabbat. Really? That's interesting. So you're saying that a lot of the things against Israel and the Jews are carried out on Shabbat. That's interesting. Everybody took his advice, says James Bong. Telecom to Cloud says, trust in a snake, never trust in Israel. Well, I don't know if you're comparing Israel to a serpent or if you're saying that serpents are better than Israel, or I don't know what you're saying, but never trust in Israel. I don't know. I think a bunch of people trust a lot of our technological, scientific, medical, industrial innovations. There's a very good chance that whatever device you're seeing this on right now, telecom, was innovated or enhanced or made better through the mind of some Jew somewhere, maybe even in Israel. So you can say never trust in Israel, but I think that Israel as a country, as a state, as a people, has proven that to be wrong. I would simply say trust in a snake, never trust in Israel blindly. I would add the word blindly, and then I would be on board with you. Oh, there's a super chat here. Hey, JPSSA is here. Nice to see you again, man. Very good to see you. Good to see you, bro, he says. God bless you. I was looking for a book you were talking about on Nazarite ship. Who's the author and where can I buy it? So I have a few books on the Nazarite ship here. They are all in Hebrew. So I don't know if you can buy it. I don't know if you can buy them because I don't think there's an English translation yet. But if you want, there's the book Nazir Elohim by Rabbi Yehoshua Friedman of the Temple Institute and of the Kotel Yeshiva here in Jerusalem. There is Nazirut Bazman Hazeh by Rabbi Uri Einhorn, also in Jerusalem. There's Nazirut Israel by the Nazarite Rabbi Gavriel David, who I think is in Brooklyn now. And do I have one more book? No, I think those are the three books I have on the Nazarite ship here. All of them are in Hebrew. One of them is not even in physical form. One of them is not has not been published in physical form and is only in PDF. All three written by Nazarite Orthodox rabbis here in Jerusalem. Again, Rav Gavriel David probably he was in the Ukraine. I think he's in New York somewhere. As for where you can buy it, if you're looking for it in Hebrew, then you can find it at the Nazir Elohim. You can buy through the Temple Institute website. I think they have it on sale there, or selling it there. As for the other two, I can send you the PDF of Nazirut Israel. I have it on PDF. I can send it to you if you want. Get in touch with me. And as for Nazirut Bazman Hazeh, I got that book from one of the author's students, and I don't know where you can get it, actually. I don't know where you can get it. So those are the books that I have on the Nazarite ship. Now, if you're looking strictly for the halacha of the Nazarite ship, that's in Yad HaChazakah, Maimonides, right? The Mishnah Torah. Those are the strict, right? Halacha is just the rules of the Nazarite ship, but that's not a book about the Nazarite ship. That's a book of halacha, which also includes the laws of the Nazarite in it. So JPS, I hope that was of, hang on, I'll give it a like there. I hope that was of benefit. I hope I answered your question. Incidentally, speaking of reaching out to me, if you want, I'm available, JP, you probably know this as well already, but if not, you can get in touch with me on, right, YouTube, leave a comment. I can't get to every single chat, but I can get to every single comment, and I do try to do so. Every comment that is addressed to me, I try and address it back sooner or later, usually sooner than later, though in the last couple of weeks it's been a bit more difficult. And, hit me up in the DMs of Hebrew Nazarite across the board. Look for my tree on X and on Facebook and on TikTok and on Instagram. So if you want to hit me up, go for it. I enjoy the DMs. I love talking to people. Okay, let's continue. Chocomillo says, no matter how bad Iran or even Israel is, regime change is always never the answer. Have you heard of the proverb, an egg that cracked from outside is food, but the one that cracked from inside is life? Okay, once again. Regime change is never the answer. The proverb, he says, an egg that cracked from the outside is food, but the one that cracked from inside is life. Okay, right, see the chick coming from the... I see. I see, I see, I see. So what you're saying is if we want true change to come, it's not from an external regime change, it's from grassroots movement of the people rising up. If I understand you correctly, that's what you're saying. All right, I can see that. Nero says, what does the Torah say about non-believers? Not much, unless you're talking about Hebrew non-believers. If you're talking about simply non-believers, it doesn't really say anything. The only time when the Torah says that you need to eradicate non-believers, if you will, is the war of conquest that Joshua did, right? That Joshua carried out with the Israeli army, the Israelite army. Took about 13 or 14 years, and that war is over long ago, about 3,500 years ago or so. And the other, that's pretty much it. And that's not even non-believers. That's simply the dwellers of the land of Canaan, the seven peoples, the seven nations who were in Canaan. I don't think it says anything about non-believers. Why, people? Maybe you know something I don't. What does the Torah, and I mean the written Torah here, right? The written Torah, what does it say about non-believers? I don't know. America First says, why are there no bald Jews? Is the baldness gene not in Jewish DNA? It definitely is. There are many, many bald Jews. What are you talking about? I mean, maybe you simply haven't seen them, but they're definitely around. Old Wizard says, Hey, Old Wizard. Glad to make your digital acquaintance. Interesting, says Rainey. Thank you for the explanation. I've always wondered. All right, moving down in the chat, moving down. Egg fart sewer clouds. Okay, let's break that down. Egg, cool. Fart, better. Sewer, not my thing. Clouds, I enjoy. Daniel Socks. And, oh, sorry, not Socks, Socket. Daniel Socket. And Connor Webb. That's pretty cool. Egg, fart, sewer clouds. Egg, fart, sewer clouds. I like that. YT says, is everything going okay in Israel or now or still critical? Is Iran really hitting missiles or it's propaganda? Iran is hitting, but 90-something% of the missiles, from what I'm hearing, which is also propaganda, is being intercepted. So things are relatively calm, relatively chill, other than the fact that every now and then there's a siren, and sometimes a lot more than every now and then there's a siren, and we need to go down to the bomb shelter. But Israel is not in critical condition. I don't think the people nor the economy are in critical condition. I think we are doing pretty well. Of course, this could change at the drop of a hat, depending on how this war progresses. But as far as war is concerned, we unfortunately are very used to being in a state of emergency, very much used to being in a state of war. So, the economy is taking a bit of a hit. And some people are losing their homes, and some people are being evacuated to hotels. And, once the dust settles and this war is over, we'll be able to figure things out for the better. But laws are being passed and budgets are being allocated to help the people of Israel. This is what we pay taxes for, after all, not just to line the pockets of politicians and all kinds of, Emmanuel says, poo-poo, pee-pee, farty, plop. Emmanuel, I like the way you think. I really, really do. Now, let's get into this a bit. Poo-poo, pee-pee, farty, plop. Now, if you're talking about sharding, I know what you mean. And yes, it can be challenging, especially those egg fart sewer cloud poo-poo, pee-pees. That is just something that it's difficult. It's difficult to get over. Now, if you've got a poo-poo, pee-pee, fart cloud sewer once you're running to a bomb shelter, then you are actually, in a dilemma. If you're sitting on the toilet, right? If you're on the throne and you're on the, and you're worshiping the porcelain deity there with your farts and poo-poos and pee-pees, and then the alarm starts blaring and the siren starts going and you need to get the hell out of there, what do? Do you pinch it off and you continue it in the bomb shelter in front of all your neighbors? Or do you stick it around? Or if you have a shelter in your home, because some have safe rooms in their homes, what do? Do you wait? What do you do? People, if you were poo-poo, pee-peeing, egg farting, and the air raid siren went off, what would you do? Would you go to the bomb shelter? Would you go to the safe room? Would you stay on the throne like the king that you are and laugh at death and say, ha, those missiles won't stop me from poo-poo, peeing, farting sewer clouds all day long? Think about it. Okay, let's continue. Can you give a simple definition of a modern Nazarite? Well, the Nazarite is as it's laid out in Numbers 6 or the story of Samson, because I'm a Samson Nazarite. But the definition is a man or woman of the Hebrew tribes who have taken on a vow of the Nazarite. There are 4 different Nazarites that you could take a vow for either one of them, really. And well, one of them is one that is laid on you. So let's say 3 that you can actually lay out. And the definition is you stay away from grapes and grape products. You stay away from anything to do with the fruit of the vine. You grow your hair long. And if you're a Numbers 6 Nazarite, you stay away from the defilement of human death, corpses. And if you are a Samson Nazarite, then you are allowed to be near dead people, right, around corpses, and the vow is unbreakable and is for life. So that's basically it. Do you believe there can be peace? Definitely Austin's Corner. I definitely believe and I yearn and I long for a time of peace. Whether it will come through war or through love, time will tell. Time will tell. I really don't know. Break out your concrete drill, says James Bong. Indeed. Time me out, says Daniel Socket. Why would I do that? I've never put anyone in a timeout, nor do I ban people, nor do I have any moderators here, because I believe that, this is a free platform, as free as the YouTube guidelines allow. So if you want to keep on egg farting, sewer clouds, poo-poo, pee-pee, whatever it is you want to do, you go ahead and do it. Go and spam away. It's all good. People saying your PM is no more. What's your views, my dear, says YT. I think he's alive, but if he's not alive, then, he's dead and nothing much I can do about it. So that's my view. I think he's very much alive. That was a good Bible study, says JP, on poop and pee. Yes, incidentally, not from the Bible, but from our sages of the Second Temple era, maybe even a bit before that, there is a blessing that you say after you wash your hands. There's a specific way in which you wash your hands after you leave the bathroom, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, using a receptacle called a natla. And there's a prayer, a blessing, grace that you say after the bathroom, which, as I've mentioned before, mentions God's throne of glory, that's not like any other blessing or prayer that is said, right? A blessing of enjoyment. Does God eat comets and asteroids? I have no idea what God eats. I'm thinking, he likes Cheerios. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking God would like Honey Nut Cheerios. Now, I don't partake of honey, the vegan thing, but I think God would be definitely on board with Honey Nut Cheerios and Peanut Butter Crunch. I think that God is a peanut butter crunch man. Not a man, but a peanut butter crunch god. Was this another one from JP? Yes, it is. JP, bringing it in. What does the esoteric mean of the Nazareth? Well, not Nazareth. Nazareth is a town. I'm assuming you mean Nazarite. Not drinking alcohol and touching dead things. It's not alcohol. The Nazarite man or woman are allowed to partake of alcohol that is not of grape origin. I actually took out all alcohol when I took on the vow, but that is not an integral, inherent part of the vow. The only part of the vow is things like grapes, raisins, wine vinegars, and strong drink where wine or grapes are involved. The grapevine and the fruit, rather, of the grapevine, that is what is prohibited. So it's not all alcohol. Touching dead things, sorry for all the misspelling. I'm driving at work and trying to dictate the message. Hey, don't drive and text. Please focus on your driving. Your safety and the safety of those around you is indeed so important. Don't text and drive, really. Or don't dictate and drive. Keep your mind sharp and your eyes on the road. And, I do appreciate all of your donations and all of your fine questions, JP. You know that. But if you're driving, focus on the driving. This will be on YouTube forever, seemingly. So you'll be able to catch up later. Go ahead and drive to work. And driving at work or to work? If it's to work, have a great day at work. If it's at work, I hope you're having a good day at work. And a blessed new moon to you. As for the esoteric meaning, the Nazarite is commanded to stay away, right? I mentioned the right hand and the left hand, the right side and the left side. The Nazarite, through the growing of the hair and the abstaining of the grapes and of the defilement of death, separates him or herself from the left side. right? From the side of din, from the side of judgment. And that's why he is not called a Nazir Adonai. He or she are called a Nazir Elohim. Elohim is a name primarily associated with the left hand, with Gvura, with din, with judgment, right? With that side of limitation and constraint. And so by separating him or herself from death, we embrace life. From separating ourselves from the grape, which is one of the hypotheses, right? One of the ideas is that the grape was the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. And that's why Noah immediately plants a vineyard, right? After coming out of the ark. That's at least one hypothesis on the nature of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. We abstain from death, the left side. We abstain from wine and grapes, the left side. We embrace the hair, which on others represents the left, but with us represents the crown. Nezer means crown, Nazir, Nazarite. Nazarite, the Nazarite man or woman have a crown of separation, a crown of consecration upon their head. That is why they do what they do and abstain from that, from what they abstain from that which they abstain from. So the esoteric meaning is you get yourself away from the left side, away from judgment, away from limitation, away from the constraints by putting limitations and constraints on yourself, right? Things that you are allowed to partake of, like wine, like grapes, like raisins, like vinegar. Things you are allowed to do, like be defiled by death, right? Go to someone's funeral, visit a graveyard. The Nazarite shuns all of that. So by limiting yourself in certain ways, you free yourself in many other ways. That's the very nature of Torah and commandments by and large. 613 of them there are. And by limiting ourselves, right, in what we can wear and how we speak and what we eat, right, the laws of kashrut, we actually find great freedom, and we are able to break out and transcend our limitation by imposing a certain set of limitations. This is true to the Hebrew Nazarite, and it's true to the Hebrew man or woman who keep Torah and commandments at large. I hope that at least addresses your question, because I'm not going to say it answered it, but I hope it addresses it. Thanks, JP, once again for your charitable donations. I think that's lovely, and I really appreciate it. Okay. No arak, that's too bad. Oh man, I've had my share of arak. Gather around, Churin, I'll tell you a story. There was one, I think I've told the story before. It must have been, I'm 43, 23 years ago. I think I was 19 or 20, about 25 years ago, in my yeshiva days in Tzfat, I went up to Meron to celebrate the Yurtzeit, the anniversary of death of Moses, our master, which happened a few weeks ago on the 7th of Adar. And I got so drunk around the fire, so drunk on arak. Whew! I have never been that drunk off arak in my life. It was amazing. It really, really was. I was dancing for, oh my God, hours and hours. Tell me more about Buddha, says Randy. Well, I'm not a Buddhist, so I can't tell you about His Royal Majesty Prince Siddhartha Gautama Buddha too much. Unfortunately, I don't know that much about him. The things I have heard, and I've spoken of them live, the things I have heard about him were pretty amazing. So, I'm a fan of Buddha, though I'm not a Buddhist. And I'm a fan of being a Bodhi, right, of being enlightened to the degree that one can be and does, go after that path of enlightenment. What is the benefit for a society to have Nazarite in it, says Shai, is it Shai Milman? The benefit for society, I don't know if there is a benefit to society. I do know that Amos the prophet mentions prophets and Nazarites in the same breath when he chastises the children of Israel and tells them, you're right, you told the prophets not to prophesy, and you gave the Nazarites wine to drink. Right? He says, I brought up Nazarites from your young, and I brought up prophets from your sons and daughters. Haven't I, children of Israel? And what did you do? Right? You told the prophets not to prophesy, and you gave the Nazarites wine to drink. The benefit for a society to have a Nazarite in it, I don't know. I think it depends on the nature of the society itself. The Nazariteship is a personal vow. The Nazariteship is a personal path. Does it have a benefit to society? I have no idea. I really, really don't. Maybe. Gunnar says, what's your favorite story in the Torah? The story of creation. I'm a Genesis man through and through. I love the story of creation. I love the account of creation in the Torah. Tel Aviv on brink of civil war, huh? Says Alex. No, I don't think so. I know that in the States, a lot of people are against the war. Even people who were for President Trump being elected are now against that war. But people here in Israel are by and large united, even if not around Netanyahu, because we are definitely not united around Netanyahu, to say the least. We are united under that banner of fighting our enemies and those who would destroy us, and not letting Iran get its hands on a nuclear weapon, which it would definitely, undoubtedly, use to destroy us. Austin's said, what is the distinction between a Nazarene and Nazarite? Nazarenes are twofold. Nazarenes are either geographically, right, people from Nazareth, or Nazarenes are people who around the time of after Jesus' death, they are a sect of Christians who follow Jesus, but not the apostles, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a man of Jesus. I'm not a Christian man, so I have no idea. I do know that some Nazarenes are simply people from Nazareth, and some people are Nazarenes in the way that they follow Christianity, and some say that Nazarenes are not Christians because they don't follow any specific church, or they don't follow the Catholic or Orthodox Church. I don't precisely know because I'm not a Christian. But that's the distinction. A Nazarite, on the other hand, is a man or woman of the Hebrew tribes who have taken on the vow. So that's what it is. Handy Andy, good to see you here again, man. Have you visited any secular countries, and what do you think of their societies? Well, I've visited the States. I've lived in Amsterdam for 3 years. I don't know what to think of the society because I didn't integrate. I knew I was there for a specific time. I never went there to live there, and live out my days there. So I didn't feel the need to learn the language. I didn't, like in the Netherlands, right? I didn't feel the need to integrate. Also, it was Corona for the second half of my 3-year period there. So I didn't really get a chance to do it, even if I did want to do it. What did I think of their societies? I have no idea. I did not experience them too much. My wife, right, my woman would have a lot to say because she was the one going to school there. Lubas. Hi, Lubas. Do some sects of Judaism defile death as a religious practice? What do you mean by defile death? Death is indeed defilement, and the top of the defilement of death, right? Because there are levels, there are nuances of defilement, of ritual impurity, of ritual uncleanliness. The top of the top of the top of that list, what is called the father of the fathers of impurity, is defilement by a corpse, a human dead body. That's at the top. That's Avi Avot HaTum'ah, the father of the fathers of impurity. But no, I don't think that there are sects of Judaism that as a religious practice defile themselves. Now, as I've said many times, dealing with this idea of defilement and impurity, being ritually unclean and being ritually impure is a natural state of being. There has never been a time, or maybe not for a long period of time anyway, where everybody in Israel was ritually pure at the same time completely, right? If somebody is menstruating, they're impure. If somebody had a seminal, an emission of semen, be it through sex or a nocturnal emission or masturbation, they're impure, ritually impure. If somebody gave birth, right? If it's a boy, it's 33 days. If it's a girl, then it's 66 days of ritual impurity, right? If people were in battle, if people were if people were next to an animal cadaver, right, or an animal, a dead animal, depending on the animal. So there's always some ritual impurity. It's part of the natural cycle of life. So to practice defilement of death as a ritual or a religious practice, I mean, no, but there is that idea, let's say, of burying the dead. That is a religious practice, and that entails inherently being close to a dead human body. So it's not that some sects practice defilement of death as like a religious rite or ritual, but it is something that is done. Like I said, it's a part of life, and part of life is burying the dead. You see what I'm saying? Why, people, do you know of any Jewish sects that have defilement of death as a religious rite or a religious ritual? That's a good question. Penelope says, LOL, I work in hospice. Wow, hats off to you. That must be a tough job. It takes a certain individual, right, and a certain character to be able to work in hospice. And I wonder how jaded you are, Penelope. I wonder how desensitized you are. It's curious. Very curious how some people can do that. Wondrous, wondrous things. And to be with people towards the end of their life, I'm sure it gives you an appreciation of life and an appreciation of death, in the sense of that you learn what not to do. And I'm sure that you've seen many families, around the deathbed of a loved one quarreling. And I'm sure you've seen families who gather around and find each other, maybe sometimes after years of not being in contact. Or I'm sure you have many stories. How long, Penelope, have you been working in hospice? XG says, hello, sir. Hi there. Your thoughts on Israeli and US war on Iran? My thoughts? That we need peace. Those are my thoughts on war at large. We need peace. Alex says, could you hypothesize as to why Israelis aren't allowing Christians and any foreigners into the shelters? Where are you getting that from? If you live here, you belong in a bomb shelter with whoever you live nearby. If it's a public bomb shelter, then it's for the public. And if you bar entrance to anybody who comes to seek safety in a bomb shelter, then you are doing something illegal and you can be put on trial. In fact, people are being put on trial for doing just that. Not against Christians, necessarily, just against people. As for Christians and foreigners, of course they're getting into shelters. I have no reason to believe they aren't, but if you do have concrete evidence of this, like, look, of course you'll find some asshole or two that are, for whatever stupid reason, barring entrance to people, right? Barring people from entering into shelters. But I don't think Christians and foreigners are being specifically targeted and being barred entrance to any shelters. And if you have any news of that, any credible sources showing that, please, by all means, show me. I might be way off, but I don't think that happens at all. And if it does, then it's just, here and there, and not common in the least. That's a horrible way to be, and I don't think that people are doing that. Alice continues, how are the teachings in the Sanhedrin and Talmud justifiable in a modern society, given how cruel and barbaric some of the teachings are? Well, look, there's teachings and there's law. Those are not the same thing. We have no Sanhedrin. We have no proper rabbis, right, with the laying of the hands. That was taken out by Rome in the Second Temple era. So, or a little after. So, no, Second Temple era. So, what do you mean, how is it justifiable? Teachings are not necessarily law. There's law and there's teachings. You don't have to go with the teachings. There's no Sanhedrin. You don't even have to go with the law. And even if you say you do want to go according to halacha, according to rabbinic law, you'll find people making all kinds of rabbinic law statements and decrees and all kinds of halachas being brought into the fold. So how is it justifiable? It's justifiable in the sense that A, it's just a teaching. You can take it or leave it. B, it's a law. You have free will. That's why it's justifiable. As for the barbaric and cruel things, I go on a case-by-case basis. Show me something barbaric. Show me something cruel. If it's a teaching, I will say, okay, so somebody said that. Doesn't make it law. And if it's law, then give me the broader context, and I'll be able to address it. That's what I have to say. Penelope says, is he still alive? They say he was killed. Yes, they said Netanyahu was killed, I know. Going down in the chat, going down, down, down. Welcome to WW3, says, wee! Hey, wee, good to see you, man. Hospice ain't easy, says William Barry. No, hospice doesn't seem like an easy thing at all. Desensitized, says Penelope. Well, and do you find that, does that agree with you? I'm curious, does it agree with you to be so desensitized? Jesus, you are Judas? Well, I'm not Jesus or Judas, so I guess I'm neither. William Barry says, the percentage of humans that would defile a corpse, thank God, is relatively low. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. If you're talking about necrophilia, yeah, I guess that's kind of low. But if they would be defiled by proximity to a dead body, that's something that happens like passively, not necessarily actively, as defiling a corpse. I don't know if you mean sexually or otherwise, but okay. The live humans scare me, the dead don't. Yeah, I see what you mean, Penelope. Hey, Garfield is here. Hey, Garfield. Good evening, brother, he says. Good evening to you. It's good to see you. Good to see you. XG says, I can see why God chose the Jews for the Messiah. You're a very wise man. Hey, I have my moments, but I'm just a simple dumbass in the Middle East with a phone. Don't forget that. Also, take everything I say with a big old grain of hummus, because, you should do your own research. I'm not a master. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a scholar. I'm not an educated or learned man. I'm just a dude. As for the Messiah, other people who are not Jewish have also been called Messiah, but the anointed one, traditionally, is an anointed one of the Hebrews, be it a prophet, be it a priest, be it a king. So, yeah. Tarnix says, this is very cool. I am using swipe to type. What does it mean I'm using swipe to type? I don't know what that means. Tornix? Hey, Tornix. Shai Milman said hi. Shai, why? You're saying hi now? Didn't you have a question before? Or I might be wrong. Gog and Magog, is that happening now? Says Alex. Some say that it is, but Gog and Magog, according to Ezekiel, is it 37? 37 is Gog and Magog, or 34? Something. One of the 30s in Ezekiel describes the Gog and Magog war. Now, Gog and Magog are places. Gog and Magog are geographical locations, and it's said that on that day, right? Anyway, it says that God, right, the divine revelation will be the one who will be revealed as a warrior, right? And God will fight the war, whatever that means. So is it happening now? Maybe, maybe not. I have no idea. I'm taking it day by day, hour by hour, air raid siren by air raid siren. Are you Jewish, says Mr. Borat Sagdiev. Yes, give that. Yes, I am. I am indeed of the kingdom of Judah. And what about you, Mr. Borat? Does Jesus love my dog, says E-Dog. You'll have to ask Jesus, man. I have no idea. I'm inclined to say yes, because, it could very well be. I dig dogs. Back to Eden, says Joe Daniel. Hey, Joe Daniel, how you doing? Original innocence is our default setting in authentic orient of identity. Yes, Joe Daniel, I agree. Back to Eden. And if not yet back to Eden, let us try to implement some Edenic teachings. Let us try to implement some of the Edenic influences into our modern day life here and now. And for some people, it can be from the good things that happen there, and for some people, it can be from the negative things that happen there. But there's a lot to learn from the story of creation about how we are to be here and now. And that's why it's my favorite biblical story for sure. Does God have a favorite group of people? If so, why? Says Lou Bass. I have no idea. I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. The revelation of God through the Torah to the children of Israel was certainly interesting, and in some ways unique. But to say favorite, I'm inclined to say no. I'm inclined to say that the favorite group of people in the eyes of the divine revelation is indeed people, humanity, right? We were all made in the image of God. Now, some Jews will disagree with me and say that only the Jews are with a divine soul, and only the Jews are truly in God's image or have the capacity, the potential of reaching that level. I disagree on general principle because it doesn't say that, and because in Eden there was no Israel and nations, there was just the human race and nature and the divine revelation, and that includes creation itself and the Creator's revelation and everything in between. So, I think that God's favorite group of people are a group of people. And why? Because we were made in the image of God. We were made with that ability to also be the movers and shakers and makers of the world and be full partners, right? To have a partnership with the divine revelation in steering this ship, this spaceship Earth. Mr. Borat says, if you have seen my film, you know my feelings. Well, I didn't see the second one, right? There's a second Borat. The first one I adored. My woman fast-forwarded the scene in the hotel when they're both naked. She says, you don't need to see that. They're just running around naked. But she told me that people in the theater had a visceral reaction to that scene. So maybe sometime I should experience it on a big screen. At any rate, I loved the Borat movie. I think there was a second one. I didn't see it because something told me no, it'll just tarnish the memories of the Borat film. Jesus loves my dog for sure. All right, Garfield, see, so he'll be able to tell you. E-Dog says, do you want to move to California and be my Jewish friend? We can start a new tribe. Well, first of all, I have every reason to move to California. My elder brother lives in California, and I would love to see him more. He was here recently performing with Smash Mouth, and that was awesome. And it just reminded me of how much I miss seeing him in the flesh. If I were to move to California, that would be really, really great. Unfortunately, that would mean leaving Israel behind. I don't want to do that. Israel and my family here takes precedence. So maybe at some point I'd visit California, but I would not want to move. As for be your Jewish friend, let's be digital friends. Why not? As for starting a new tribe, I'm good with my tribe, not looking to start anything new. The only new thing I would want to start, perhaps, is a virtual roaming monastery, since there have never been Hebrew monasteries, because the Nazarite vow is a personal thing, and because the Nazarite vow is not something that people do as a group, like they used to have schools of prophets and young priests and whatnot gathered together in groups, in troops, right? And the Nazarites never congregated like that, unless you say that the Essenes were a group of Nazarites, and some people say they are. That's the closest there ever was to there being a monastery, and I would want there to be a kind of either digital monastery or an actual roving monastery that goes from place to place in Israel and sets up a tent like the tabernacle went from place to place. We stay at a place for a week or 2 weeks or a month, and then we keep going. I think I would like to do that sometime. Lord knows how I'll make that happen. It's not something I'm planning, but I gave it thought a long time ago, years ago, that I wouldn't want there to be a building. I would not want there to be a Hebrew monastery in the form of a building. I would want it to be a roving set of tents, like a circus. Okay, let's continue. Wasn't Hitler Jewish, says Based History. Well, your history is based, you tell me. Some people say he was Catholic. Some people say he was Jewish. So I have no idea. I think Borat is from Kazakhstan. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And he travels to the United States to learn a lesson for Kazakhstan. Shai says, I don't know. YouTube suggested to say hi, so I did. Oh, I think. I see what you mean. Don't you think Iran is an example of religion gone bad? Murdering massive amounts of humans in the name of God. I think religion makes human mad. Let's put it this way. I don't live in Iran. I have no idea. Religion, even the best religion, taken to an extreme, can be bad. Any religion, every religion, has the capacity for being corrupted, has the capacity for going right off the rails, because people will do anything and everything in the name of God, keep their righteousness in their own eyes, while committing the most awful and horrible atrocities that we've ever known. We know this. We human beings, this is what we are like. This is what we can be. And that's why we need a system of checks and balances. This is also why we had the Sanhedrin and the king and prophets and the priesthood. We had all of these things to keep other different facets of the Hebrew faith and its religion and its people and its actors in check. So murdering massive amounts of humans in the name of God is something that has been going on since forever, unfortunately. Religion makes human mad. Did you mean bad? Maybe you meant bad. Either way, whether it's religion makes humans mad, like mad angry, mad unbalanced mentally, or bad, yes, religion has the capacity for all of those things, and for great cruelty and for great malevolence, all the while thinking that you are on the right side of history and doing God's will and exercising the divinity in this lowly world. However, right alongside that, there's also the benevolent and graceful and wonderful facet and part of religion, that part which is a discipline, that part which is a commitment, the part which is a path, a way forward. And again, it's the lens through which you view the world, the lens through which you view faith, the lens through which you view whatever religion you subscribe to or go by or have faith in. I take it as an individual case-by-case basis. Is it possible for religion to go bad? Without a doubt. We see that all the time. Can it also go good? Yes. We also see that all the time. I choose, foolishly, to focus on the good, but I am acutely aware of the bad. So as for Iran, I don't know. Like somebody said, Iran and Israel are both prime examples of how religion can screw up a state. So yeah. Gunnar says, I want to learn the Hebrew language and read the Torah. Well, Gunnar, I've been told by people it's hella difficult. I wish you all the best of luck. I am very thankful that my parents raised me here in Israel, raised me with Torah and Hebrew just from when I was born. Now, some of it, because it's also organized religion, some of it was to my detriment, but I think that I got more benefits than detriments, and I've been indoctrinated because of my parents, to their credit. They indoctrinated me in a way where they said, find your path. Here's the religion, here are the rules, here is the Torah, here is tradition, find your place within it. And for that, I am eternally grateful for them, and to them, for the way that they brought me up, because although I have been burned by organized religion, I think, maybe I'm wrong, I think that all things considered, I got so much out of the Hebrew and the Torah and the religion that I grew up in. And my parents are the ones who made that happen. My parents were the ones who decided to come to Israel and have kids and not have us in the States. It's my parents who decided to find their way within Orthodox Judaism, right, within the ways of the Torah, and raise us in that fashion. So even though I have been burned a little bit here and there, sometimes the cuts are pretty deep, but all things considered, I had got so much, and I'm very thankful. As for learning Hebrew and reading Torah, again, I wish you best of fortune, the best of luck. I hope you go it. You know, it's not easy. I've been told it's really difficult, so I wish you luck. E-Dog says you can be a chemist. How so? I was never good at chemistry. I studied it a bit in high school. Not my thing. Not my thing. Mr. Borat says, yes, Iran is religion gone very bad, but that is changing. God willing, maybe it's changing. Maybe it is. What does it mean to be made in the image of God, says Garfield? Well, plainly speaking, it means that we have the capacity for exhibiting the divine revelation in a very specific way. The divine revelation, right, permeates all of creation. But we have animal, vegetable, mineral, speaking, 4 levels, right, corresponding to the 4-letter name of God, corresponding to the 4 elements, corresponding to the 4, right, to the 4, to the different, well, anyway, corresponding to many things that are 4. To be made in the image of God means that we, as speaking, living, breathing, walking, talking human beings, we have the capacity to be full partners in creation in a way that animals and vegetables and minerals and other creations do not. We have the ability and the potential, and some say the duty and the responsibility of becoming a vessel, right? Of vacating ourselves of ego to a great degree, not 100%, but to a great degree, and become this empty vessel through which the divine revelation can flow. And we facilitate new channels of revelation through our very unique soul, our very unique being. When people say that each and every human is tasked with a specific mission, we have a job to do, a specific, right? You out there watching this right now, those watching now or later, you have a unique job, the way, what did David Data said? In the way of the superior man, he says you have a gift to give to the world, and it's incumbent on you, right? It behooves you to find out what it is and do whatever you can to make it happen. Otherwise, there is a part of creation that is lacking. There is a part of creation that is wanting. There is a part that is missing, right? The part that you could be providing or bringing into creation. So to be created or made in the image of God means that we represent the tree of life, we represent the 10 sfirot, we represent that through which divine revelation can shine through in a very unique and specific and wonderful way that other creations cannot right? We are higher than the angels. We are higher than the demons. We are the crown of creation. And this is not just to pat ourselves on the back and elevate and, blow up our ego to some magnitude. It's to give us that feeling that we truly have a lot on our shoulders. We have a responsibility and a duty, like I said. So that's what that means, basically. It can mean other things too, of course. Do you like fishing, says E-Dog. I've never fished, and I don't eat fish, and I wouldn't want to fish, so I don't know if I like it or not, but I don't do it. Another super chat from JP. Hey, JP. Okay, when Israel went out to war, did Judah go up first to battle and sing and praise God first before the battle started? And do you believe they danced like David danced, and why did David dance? Right, okay, so when Israel went to war, there are a couple of different accounts. First of all, well, let's talk about the book of Judges, right? Or the book of Joshua, rather. Let's talk about the book of Joshua. That is where the war of the conquest of the land of Canaan took place. Now, there are some people who say that all of Israel went as one, okay, and they went to war. Some say, no, 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 they split up, the different tribes split up into what would later become their physical, geographical inheritance, and then, as it says, one tribe called the other tribe, you help me beat my enemy here, and I'll help you beat your enemy there. And if you're not talking about the war of conquest, if you're just talking about Israel going to war, by the way, in the war of conquest, there is also the 2.5 tribes of Reuven, Gad, and half of Menashe, who told Moses, if you let us have the eastern side of the Jordan, we will go first. So in that war, it was Reuven and Gad and half of Menashe that went first. But if you're talking about in the book of Joshua, where it's sort of laid out what happened there and how the war progressed, then it seems that they did split up, and Yehuda, right, called, who was it? Who did he call? Yehuda called, I don't remember. But either way, the different tribes, right, went to their different respective locations, east, west, south, and north of the land, and then they fought individual foreign tribes, right, individual, like the different, like the Philistines, right, or like the Aram, the Aramites. Do you believe they danced like David danced? I believe that we are a very musical people, and I believe that we are a very artistic people, and I believe that we are a very expressive people, like humans tend to be, not just the children of Israel. So I'm inclined to say, yes, we definitely danced. There's a time for dancing and a time for mourning, like it says in Ecclesiastes. Why David danced? I think that David danced, right, when he brought in the ark on the way to the holiest of holies, right, in the city of David. At first, it was all of Israel, right? But then what happened was that there was a great tragedy, and a couple of people died, and that whole thing, and then it was just him. It was just him. I mean, not only him, but mainly him. He, the king, was able to dance. Now, if you're looking for the esoteric meaning, I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't have it off the top of my head. But dancing, let's put it this way. The king of Israel, right, wears the crown. The king is a sign of Malchut, right? Speaking of the way that we represent the 10 Sfirot, the king represents the attribute of Malchut, which is the 10th Sfira. Malchut represents the divine feminine presence. The king of Israel represents authority and judgment and ruling and sovereignty. And so, the idea of David, the king, dancing, and how shall I put this? The idea of David dancing in front of the Ark of the Covenant as it's moving says something about the unity of the left and the right, of the masculine and feminine divine presence. And the reason why David was dancing there is to facilitate a kind of divine revelation that was unique to the Ark of the Covenant when it is in transit, let's say, on the way to the holiest of holies. Now, I don't think that the priests and the Levites were dancing in the same way when they were moving it around the tabernacle when it was in motion, because the Levites and the priests, that had dealings and doings, right? The tribe of Levi. The tribe of Levi is indeed from the left side, but is not from Malchut. And so something about, I'm having difficulties phrasing it because I don't have it off the top of my head. But David dancing in front of the Ark of the Covenant is a unique thing that pertains to the king of Israel and what the king of Israel represents, right? The attribute of Malchut. And the rest of the children of Israel represent the attribute of Tiferet. And the different tribes represent different facets of, right? 6 times 2 is 12, and it's a whole thing to do with the tree of life. I don't know. I think I might be done soon. Oh, wow, I've been on for an hour and a half. Maybe I should be done now. So, JP, do reach out. I would love to give you a better answer. I'm sorry I don't have it off the top of my head right now. You know what? On that note, I think I will... Wait, was there anything else? Sorry, was there anything else in the super chats? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Okay, you know what? Just as a quick aside, I will say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you, those watching now and those watching later. Thank you. I deeply appreciate your time, your kind and gentle attention. Those watching, now here, the spammers and the lovers and the haters, and and the likes and the subs and the views and everything to do with all the engagement. It's so loved and cherished. It's no small thing that I can just hit go live and there are people here and there's engagement here, there's a discussion here, we're learning from each other, and I love it. I truly do. Oh wait, something else came in. Oh, Lou says thanks for answering question. Hey, I don't necessarily answer questions because what's that? But I address them. Sometimes more, sometimes less, to the best that I can do. I thank you for being here and answering and asking questions. So it's all good. All right, I will see you, God willing, next time. It is 1:17 a.m. Time for me to go to sleep. Thank you for being here. If you want to hit me up in the DMs, Hebrew Nazarite, look for my tree, like I said, on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Also, leave a comment. If I didn't get to you in the chat, I didn't mean to ignore you. I didn't mean to pass you by. I didn't mean to, insult you by not answering or addressing your question. The chat goes by very fast sometimes, and it's difficult to see everything that comes in. So please do leave a comment, because I address every single comment that is addressed to me. So if you want, on this video right now or on a different video, leave a comment and I'll get back to you. This has been so much fun, and without an interruption by the air raid siren, which is not to be taken for granted either. So much fun. God willing, I will see you on the next live stream, when whenever that will be, where the wonders never cease. So, be good to each other, be good to yourselves, be blessed, be a blessing, be the light in other people's lives, and I will see you maybe tomorrow, hopefully, I don't know. Have a blessed new moon. Make it a brilliant new moon. Make it a wonderful new month. Hey, peace. Peace and love from Jerusalem. God bless.